Have you ever considered how much of your world is made up of plastic? It's in the toothbrush you reach for each morning, the keyboard under your fingertips, the pen you use to jot down notes. Plastic has quietly wedged itself into nearly every corner of our lives. It's in the packaging of the food we eat, the clothes we wear, even the cars we drive. It's in our homes, schools, offices, and public spaces. It's in the toys our children play with and the tools we use to create. We are surrounded by plastic, living our lives amidst a sea of this material. The convenience of plastic is undeniable. It's lightweight, durable, and can be molded into virtually any shape. We've tapped into its versatility to design and create a variety of items that make our lives easier and more comfortable. But have we ever stopped to consider the cost? The truth is, plastic is everywhere. The production of plastic is a tale as old as time. It all began in the mid-19th century, with the creation of the first synthetic plastic, Bakelite, in the early 20th century. The invention of this heat-resistant, non-conductive material revolutionized various industries from automotive to telecommunications. Fast forward to today and the world is awash in plastic. Globally, we churn out around 300 million tons of plastic each year. That's nearly equivalent to the weight of the entire human population. Quite a staggering figure, isn't it? And much of this plastic is single-use, meaning it's used once and then discarded. But what does it take to produce all this plastic? Well, plastic comes from petroleum and natural gas, both non-renewable resources. To create plastic, these resources are refined into simpler substances like ethylene and propylene. These are then chemically bonded together in long chains to create polymers, the building blocks of all plastics. The process is energy-intensive, requiring large amounts of electricity and generating considerable amounts of greenhouse gases. In fact, the production of plastic accounts for about 4 to 8% of the world's total oil consumption. If the plastic industry were a country, it would be the 5th largest emitter of greenhouse gases globally. Moreover, plastic production also requires vast amounts of water, another precious and increasingly scarce resource. It's estimated that for every kilogram of plastic produced, roughly 180 liters of water are used. The raw materials for plastic production are also becoming harder to source. Crude oil and natural gas reserves are finite, and we are rapidly depleting them. As these resources become scarcer, the environmental and economic costs of plastic production will continue to rise. So, as we can see, the production of plastic is not just a story of convenience and versatility, it's also a story of resource depletion, environmental damage, and an industry that's become a significant contributor to climate change. Plastic production is a mammoth industry fueled by our insatiable demand, an industry that, despite its many benefits, also carries with it a hefty toll on our planet. Our consumption of plastic is staggering. It's a statement that might make you pause, but let's dive into the numbers to truly understand the gravity of it. Globally, we consume an estimated 500 billion plastic bags per year. That's nearly 1 million plastic bags consumed every minute. Now you might be wondering, where does all this plastic go? Well, a significant portion of it lands in our homes, offices, schools, and hospitals, shaping everyday items from toothbrushes to laptop shells, and food packaging to medical equipment. Indeed, plastic's versatility and convenience have made it a cornerstone of modern life. Let's consider the beverage industry, for instance, where plastic reigns supreme. Every minute, 1 million plastic bottles are purchased worldwide, and this number is projected to increase by 20% by 2030. The fashion industry, too, is a big player with synthetic fibers, primarily made from plastic, accounting for nearly 70% of all fibers used. The construction industry, not to be left out, utilizes plastic for everything from insulation to piping, while in the automotive industry, plastic components improve fuel efficiency by reducing weight. It's clear that plastic has permeated every sector, influencing how we build, design, and consume. But this consumption isn't uniform across the globe. Developed nations, with their higher purchasing power and greater demand for convenience, consume considerably more plastic than developing ones. For instance, an average person in North America consumes 10 times more plastic than their counterpart in Africa. Yet, it's important to remember that this isn't just about pointing fingers. It's a global issue that requires a global solution. We've built a world dependent on plastic, a material that's both a boon for its versatility and a bane for its environmental impact. So, as we stand on the precipice of a plastic-filled future, it's worth asking ourselves, how can we shift the balance? How can we reduce our reliance on this material without compromising on the convenience and versatility that it provides? Our consumption of plastic is a testament to its convenience and versatility. It's a statement that underscores the complexity of the problem we face. But it's also a call to action, a reminder that we can and must do better. What happens when we're done with our plastic? Well, let's dive into that. When we're done with our plastic items, we toss them into the trash, thinking they're gone forever. But in reality, they're just beginning their journey. The majority of these items end up in landfills, where they remain indefinitely, as plastic takes hundreds of years to degrade. In fact, every piece of plastic ever made still exists somewhere on this planet. Now you might be thinking, what about recycling? Yes, recycling is an important part of managing plastic waste, but currently, only about 9% of all plastic waste generated has been recycled. That's a startlingly low figure, especially when you consider that globally, we produce nearly 300 million tons of plastic waste every year. That's equivalent to the weight of the entire human population. Here's where it gets even more concerning. A significant amount of plastic waste doesn't make it to the landfill or recycling center. Instead, it ends up in our natural environment, causing pollution on a global scale. These discarded pieces of plastic find their way into our oceans, rivers, and forests, where they wreak havoc on wildlife. Seabirds, marine mammals, and even terrestrial animals can mistake plastic for food, leading to fatal consequences. Moreover, plastic litter in the ocean can break down into tiny particles known as microplastics, which are almost impossible to clean up. These microplastics are then ingested by marine life, entering the food chain and ultimately ending up on our plates. And let's not forget about the greenhouse gases. When plastic breaks down, it releases potent greenhouse gases, contributing to climate change. The impact of plastic on our environment is far-reaching and devastating. So, what's the takeaway here? It's clear that our current methods of plastic disposal are grossly inadequate. We're producing vast quantities of plastic, only a fraction of which is being recycled, while the rest is causing irreparable damage to our planet. Our disposal of plastic is a problem with no easy solution. The impact of our plastic consumption is far-reaching. Let's delve into the environmental and health impacts of plastic. Picture a world where every piece of plastic ever created still exists today. That's not a dystopian fantasy, but a stark reality. From the moment of its creation, plastic becomes a permanent resident of our planet. It keeps accumulating, creating a footprint that's impossible to erase. One of the most visible effects of plastic pollution is on our wildlife. Every year, hundreds of thousands of seabirds, turtles, seals, and other marine creatures die due to plastic entanglement or ingestion. But it's not just marine life. Animals on land, particularly birds and mammals, are also victims of plastic pollution. When we talk about plastic's impact on health, it's not just about the animals, it's about us too. The toxins released by plastic can be absorbed by the human body. Some of these are known to cause cancer, birth defects, immune system problems, and childhood developmental issues. Here's another fact for you. Each year we generate around 300 million tons of plastic waste. That's nearly equivalent to the weight of the entire human population, and only about 10% of this waste is recycled. The rest ends up in our oceans, landfills, and incinerators, where it continues to wreak havoc on our environment. Managing plastic waste is a significant challenge. Plastic takes hundreds, sometimes thousands of years to decompose. Even when it breaks down, it doesn't disappear. It simply turns into microplastics, tiny particles that infiltrate every corner of our environment, from the deepest oceans to the highest mountains, and even the air we breathe. We are living in an era dominated by plastic. It's in our homes, our workplaces, our food, our bodies. The convenience of plastic has led to a convenience culture where single-use items are discarded without a second thought. But convenience comes at a cost. The impact of our plastic consumption is a ticking time bomb. It's a crisis that's unfolding in slow motion, one that we can't afford to ignore any longer. The time for change is now. What can you do to make a difference? It starts with a conscious decision to reduce your plastic consumption. Start small. Swap out your single-use plastic bags with reusable ones. Choose a glass or stainless steel water bottle over the plastic variant. Opt for a bamboo toothbrush instead of a plastic one. It's these small, everyday decisions that add up and make a significant impact. Remember, plastic is not just a local issue, it's a global one. It's about the collective action of billions of people worldwide. So, share these tips with your family, friends, and community. Encourage them to join you in reducing plastic consumption. Let's also remember to support businesses and policies that are environmentally responsible. We need to push for changes at all levels. Let's create a world where our convenience doesn't come at the cost of our planet's health. Your actions matter. Reduce your plastic consumption and be a part of the solution.